us in conducting this event. We highly appreciate your enthusiasm in joining ALSA E-Comp 2022. And for your information, all of today's event will be recorded. If you do not mind, please kindly inform us through the Zoom chat. In this final round, all participants will perform based on their submitted story last Tuesday, August 23rd, 2022. Before we start, I would like to warmly welcome and introduce our honorable judges. Today we have Kak Rika Endang Triani, Kak Paul Mahesa, and Kak Putri Dewi. Beforehand, please allow me to read the judges' curriculum vitae. Kak Rika Endang Triani has been working as a storyteller since 1997, a story coach since 2013, and a storytelling competition judges for elementary, junior high school, and university since 2015. Kak Paul Mahesa has been graduated with Master of Science in American Studies program in University of Indonesia, a Bachelor of Humanities in English Department in University of Indonesia, and has been working as an English teacher since 2021, Bahasa Indonesia teacher in Lembaga Bahasa Internasional Universitas Indonesia since 2011, translator and interpreter in Lembaga Bahasa Internasional in Universitas Indonesia, English teaching staff in Lembaga Bahasa Internasional in University of Indonesia since June 2006. And Kak Putri Dewi has been graduated in Universitas Negeri Jogja. I'm sorry for my mistake. Kak Kania has been graduated from Universitas Negeri Yogyakarta and has been an experienced storyteller since 2019, an MC since 2019, and a translator since 2017. Thank you to all the judges for participating. Before we start, I would like to remind all participants to ensure that your internet connection, camera, and microphone are all in stable condition and can be used until the event ends. Briefly, I will do a roll call towards the participants to check that your camera and microphone are working. Please respond and answer orally if I call your name. Gadria Reka Kaisen March, are you present?
Yes, Kak.
Thank you, Gadria. Next, Kaisha Firoslaudia Moza, are you present?
Yes, Kak.
Thank you, Kaisha. Next, we have Shaira Elvina Adiza Pansuri, are you present?
Present, Kak.
Thank you, Shaira. Next, we have Oribel Syafa Mangkusubroto, are you present?
Present.
Thank you, Oribel. Next, we have Clarissa Mutia, are you present?
Present.
Thank you, Clarissa. Next, Gea Putri Hanriza, are you present?
Present.
Thank you, Gea. Next, Alia Muhdita Hardi, are you present?
Present.
Thank you, Alia. Next, we have Martiza Hanim Suraya, are you present?
Present.
Thank you, Martiza. Next, Rahadian Yoga Valendra, are you present?
Present, Kak.
Thank you, Rahadian. Next, and lastly, we have Titian Arifana. Are you present?
Present, Kak.
Thank you to all participants. All participants will have a maximum of 10 minutes to perform the story that they have written. We discourage any participant to read any story text or keynote when delivering the story. Thank you, everyone. Now I'm sure we are all ready to move to the next agenda. We will let the first participant to begin her performance in a second. First, I would like to welcome the first participant to deliver her storytelling performance. Gadria Reka Kaisen March from SMA 85 Jakarta, the time is yours.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, my name is Gadria Reka Kaisen March and I'm from 85 Senior High School in Jakarta. And today, I'm going to tell you a story about a girl that survived and healed from the traumatic experience of the Ukraine war. Let's head straight to the story. My name is Tiana, and on the 24th February of 2022, there was a war in my country. I was in the first grade of my senior high school and have reached the second semester. When I check on my phone, Russian is confirming that they're going to start a war with my country. I still remember all of the madness that happened on that day. Everybody was panicked and all the teachers was trying to calm everyone down. I was also really worried because my family were there with me and I never thought I would be involved in such an incident like that. Suddenly, I felt a hand on my shoulder. When I looked up on my side, it was Rachel, my best friend. Rachel, thank God you find me. Are you okay? I asked her while holding her hand. Yes, I was a bit panicked, but now it's okay. Now that I found you, we can survive this together, right? She said with a tone that took comfort me. And then I started to worry more. What if my family's getting hurt? What if I die? What if all of my friends die? Is my dog okay? These questions come up to my mind into thinking that into bad negative bad negative scenery. And then suddenly I heard a loud bang. They have arrived. The Russian military have come into the area of my school. I can hear the steps on outside of my classroom. Everybody was screaming and crying. I was really panicked and I actually couldn't move at all. Tiana, I think we should move somewhere safely, my Rachel said. I nodded and the teacher said that we need to get outside of the building school. We got outside of the building school to avoid the building if there's any collapsing. As we were outside and in the field of our school, I saw one of our teachers getting shot by the Russian military on the chest. Blood was coming from his mouth and his chest. It was bleeding and it was really creepy. I have seen that scene when I was seeing a movie as a kid in my living room, but I never thought I'm going to see that scene in real life now. Just as I saw that, I was froze again. Rachel was really panicked because she was scared of being shot too. Rachel said, Tiana, let's go. What are you doing? Don't just stand there. And then I finally got myself together and actually took her hand and we ran together. As we were running, I started hearing gunshot again. Just as I heard that gunshot, I was feeling kind of weird. Did I get shot? Why am I not feeling anything? Did I get any shot? Is this my time? But when I look at Rachel, she was actually the one who's getting shot by the Russian military in her stomach. Rachel! I screamed while she was in horrible pain. I didn't waste any of my time and carried her on my back and took her to the building of my school, which is in the laboratory. I put her down and took a piece of cloth and wrapped it around her wound so she wouldn't lose any more blood. I asked her, Rachel, can you hear me? I made sure to not shed in tears so that I wouldn't get Rachel in panic. Yes, Rachel answered with minimum Rachel answered with minimum voice because of the pain she is holding. My heart was broken. Out of all the people, why does Rachel is the one getting shot? I I was I was talking by myself in my mind and Rachel can notice that and Rachel let out a voice. Tiana, if I couldn't survive this, you would survive, right? My heart sank hearing that. I never thought I'm going to leave my own best friend in my school. Just as that, someone was trying to open the door. It was the military of our country, and he helped us. He checked on her wrist for her heartbeat, and it was not beating. And the military of our country actually said, I know you're sad now, but we have to move quick. And at that moment, I knew my Rachel, my only best friend, was gone at that moment. She got evacuated, and I got told to follow them to an open car, and we actually got transferred to a shelter that's located not far from our school. When we got to the shelter, I actually dragged by someone that looks like a nurse. I was really confused. Why am I getting dragged? I want to be with Rachel, while Rachel was actually getting carried by an ambulance. I couldn't even see her for the last time now. My mind was an absolute mess and I couldn't even think about anything. After that, I made all of my friends inside the shelter. They all said, it's gonna be all right, it's gonna be okay. But it didn't work for my mental health. I was in a major depression and I couldn't even think about anything. We were told to stay in the shelter in order to be safe. But the only thing that I think about is my family because they have never seen me since that incident. I tried to reach my phone from my backpack that I've been carrying and try to reach them, but it seems like their phone is turned off, so I can't reach them at all. I was really panicked. 2 days later, I woke up pretty late and it was time for breakfast. I took some pita bread from the table that they served and eat it in front of the tent. While I was eating, there were some more people coming into the shelter. Maybe they're gotten saved by the military too. Just as I saw them, I saw a familiar figure. They looked like my parents. It wouldn't be, right? Just as I thought, it was actually my parents. Mom, Dad, I screamed to check if they're actually my parents. When they turned around, they were right. I run, I run and go hug them while crying. Mom, Dad, I miss you so bad. I hugged them tightly. I missed them like I was going to die. Tiana, are you okay, princess? We're so worried about you. My dad asked me about my condition, but I was still really shocked about the incident about 2 days ago, and even the incident on the shelter made me so depression. So I just answered with a short. I just answered with a short answer. Yes, I'm okay, Dad, but Rachel is gone. And then my mom began to pat my head. It's okay. It's okay, Tiana. You have survived, and I'm sure Rachel is going to be really proud of you. You are doing a great job for not giving up. I started to tear up Rachel, thinking about Rachel. If I have been running faster, if she, if I have been running faster, would she still be alive now? I've been thinking about many negative thoughts. But then my dad come and hugged me and said, now that we're all together, let's promise to not let go of each other's hand and make sure we get through this together. So that was the story of how I survived the war. The war taught me the war taught me the war taught me so many things, like being strong, about letting go, and making and appreciating every little things, even if it's like a tiny thing, because we never know if we ever going to experience that ever again. I am still healing now after the war. I have a checkup with my psychologist every week. I spend more time with my family. I interact with my friends by meeting them in the hometown and checking up on some stuff. The war made my confidence go really low, so that's why I was about to quit school. Just as I was about to quit school, my parents said that we are actually going to live abroad. I still don't know where the road is, but I'm pretty sure the destination will be the best option for me. Starting a new journey and hoping that my future will get better soon. That's all I have for today. Thank you for all the judges and all of the other participants that have been watching this. I hope you guys can take the morals of my story. I'm sorry if there's any mistakes in words or action. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Gardia, for your great performance. Next, we have Kaisha Firos Laudia Moza from SMAN 28 Jakarta. For
Good morning, everyone, ladies and gentlemen and judges. So, there are many ways that people do to be successful. Often, wealth arrives in the most unexpected ways. Besides, of course, it must be accompanied with hard work to achieve it. I want to tell you a story about a person, Aishi Sakar, the owner of the Mara Group, based in Rwanda. She owns many business accounts property, insurance, IT, telecommunications, to hospitality. He became one of the most richest persons in Africa. Because of that, he achieved many economic works. However, did you know, behind his success, there is a very sad and tragic story. He was not born in the current condition. He has gone through a lot and experience. Our childhood life was not as beautiful as other boys. When he was just 12 years old, he had to escape from the terrible genocide in 1944, which is the mass murder in Rwanda. He became one of the refugees, along with 1,200 other people, until he was able to leave the country. Despite surviving the government terror, Ashish Sahar's family suffered losses. His parents had to give up their personal belongings and savings so that they can eventually fly out to Uganda. But to his parents, this is not the first time that it can happen. In 1972, Ashish Sahar's family had to be expelled from Uganda. Do you want to know why? It's because the government of Uganda at that time didn't want people from outside Africa to live in their country. Due to being an expelled person, the history of Ashish Sahar's family life journey is very interesting. Ashish Sahar's family had to be expelled from Uganda. Then they decided to move to England in 1972. And that's where Ashish Sahar was born. To be precise, it's in the city of Leicester. After a long time in England, the Ashish Sahar family decided to return to Africa. They decided to move to Rwanda. But just like I tell you before, they were expelled due to the genocide that happened in 1944. The Ashish Sahar family then returned to Uganda until finally the government improved. Ashish Sahar was not a privileged person. He wasn't born in a family that was rich and can provide him venture capital. He had to make big decisions that often involve hiring. Like, for example, when he was just 15 years old, you know, right, that a child should go to school or play. However, that doesn't happen in the life of Ashish Sahar. When he was just 15 years old, Ashish Sahar decided to drop out of school. The reason was because he wanted to focus on business. The efforts of Ashish Sahar seemed even more serious when it turned out that he got a loan to expand his business. He started by opening a small IT outlet in a mall. The goods sold are imported directly to Dubai. His efforts not only gave profit, but now he knows the business world. His experience in opening a small outlet and his experience in importing have provoked him to spread his wings. And as a result, now he has many business fields in various sectors. And he also has many companies, both that he founded himself or through partnership. I won't give up, and I won't give in till I reach the end, and then I'll try again. Oh, I wanna leave, I wanna try everything, I wanna try even though I can fail. So, from the story, we can learn that even though we're not born in a rich family that can provide us everything, it's not an obstacle for us to be successful if we are determined to reach it. So I'm Kaisha Demuda from SMA Jakarta. See you next time. Goodbye.
Thank you, Kaisha, for your performance. Next, we have Shaira Elvina Aliza Fansuri from SMAN 1 Cilegon. Shaira, the time is yours.
Is my voice clear?
Yes, you are really audible.
Okay. So, this was happening on Saturday, April 2006, when I and my family still in Cruza. Cruza is a very beautiful city in the country of Aleja, where my family and I were born, until a bunch of men from Srihola attacked to take over my country. At that time, I saw my brother was picking something from the wooden hole. Come here. Do you want to see it too, Kira? Asked my brother. I started to get closer to the wooden hole. I saw two people in uniform, white skin and carrying weapons. They were busy picking mangoes that my mother planted since I wasn't born. Brother, I also want a mango! I whined. Don't be too loud. That man will find us, said my brother. But why don't we just kick them out? I mean, that tree belongs to Mama. He said innocently. Kira, Badrio, I told you not to play here. I've said it many times. Yes, Badrio is my brother's name. Ever since the Sriholan started fighting this country, I'm quite close with my brother. Come on, I beg you to do there. The area here is no longer safe. Said my mom, we're rushing to put all of things in her bag. Hearing that, I was a little confused. But what about our house, Mom? My mother just kept quiet while holding Barrio's hand, and I was held by my brother. We went to New Daras with food. New Daras is a gorgeous, clean, and safe city in Merguria. People from Srihola will not dare attack this beautiful country because of its very strong military and very high security. However, the distance from Cruza to New Daras is about 700 kilometers, and it takes days, weeks, or even months to reach it on foot. Aren't you thirsty? Asked my brother. No, I'm good, replied me. My brother always asks me, even though I never saw him drink since yesterday we leave. Every time I ask him, he always asks me back. I'm not thirsty, are you? Here, drink this. We've been walking for a few hours after our last rest. Our feet are already sore until we finally hear the sound of water coming from the mountains. Yes, you will hear that? Asked my mother. Yes, Mama, it's like the sound of waterfall. It's waterfall! Yelled Badrio. We were so happy to see the waterfall. My mom and my brother immediately ran to it and drank the water. I knew they were very thirsty. I also drank the water and it tastes super fresh. My brother suddenly went into the water and pulled me in too. We took a bath there and suddenly, accused me to my brother. I actually don't know who threw the stone at me, but one and only people who make sense is my brother. I don't throw the stone at you, said my brother. God, a bullet into flew into my mother's chest. I was so shocked. So was my brother. Banrio immediately asked me to run and left all of our luggage at the waterfall. I was crying while I ran, even though my mom is kind of assertive to us, but I love her very much. We walked through the dense forest, hoping that Sriholan people wouldn't find us. All of our stuff left beside the waterfall. The food we ate these 2 days all came from the forest. My brother told me about how beautiful New Glarus is. It made me more excited to keep going through the forest. After I was excited to walk, suddenly I heard a voice behind me. I looked back, and then Where are you going, sweetheart? There I run! I ran away leaving my brother, who was caught by a man from Sri Lanka. I hid without thinking about what's gonna happen to my brother. At that time, I didn't really understand what would happen if a man from Sri Lanka caught my brother. I didn't hear any gunshots. So I thought my brother was okay. I went back to my brother and then I didn't see my brother anymore. I cried. I thought my brother had been shot dead like my mother. Suddenly, when I was crying, someone grabbed my. Who are you? I asked frantically. Listen, I'm a good person. Come with me, hide. Said the grandmother who wanted to save me. I went with that grandmother to a small hut at the end of the forest. In there, I was fed and watered. I was told by the grandmother that my brother was taken away by the Sri Lankan man. I cried because I want to see him. The grandmother said, we will meet him when things get better. And now, 2016, exactly 1 decade after all of that happened, I was in New Delhi, the place that my mom and my brother dream of. I went here with my grandma. Yes, grandma who met me 10 years ago to save me. We went across the ocean that not reached by Sri Lankan people. Such a blessing to live until now with a kind 88 years old grandmother. I always pray that my brother is now in a safe and comfortable place. And I also plan to look for him when I'm old enough. Because love will never die. Even for 1,000 years, I will always love and miss him. From me, Kira, your beloved sister. Cut! Thank you so much, Mrs. Langham. So honored to be able to tell you my story. You're welcome, Kira. I'm also very honored to be able to hear your story. Hopefully, by showing this on TV, you can quickly find your brother. Thank you so much, Mrs. Langham. I'm so honored. And thank you so much for the audience, too.
What a great performance from Shaira, isn't it? Thank you, Shaira, for your performance.
Okay. Is it bad lighting? Or
no, it's okay. It's
oh,
okay.
okay.
Thank you. With all due respect, we highly recommend for the honorable judges and participants to turn on their camera. Okay, I will proceed to the next participant. Next, we have Oribel Shafa Mangku Subroto from SMA Regina Pacis Bogor. Oribel, the time is yours.
Hello, is my voice clear?
Yes, you're very clear.
Okay. There was a boy who lived from the southern who was forced to leave their country by force and by war. When he was a child, he used to cry in agony. I saw how my parents were killed, and it was a horrifying view. There were bombs, there were explosions, there were gunshots everywhere. There was no people left behind. Escaping their country, leaving their beloved home was the only option left for them behind. Then, the boy was adopted by someone, and as their new parent, they moved to another country, and it's called Indonesia. Well, at first it may sound like a fun vacation, but not too long they've been struggling with financial issues and discrimination. Their family weren't allowed to be employed in any kind of job, nor are they allowed to be given any paid education. And it's because they're refugees. Locals think that refugees are dangerous people, so they didn't want to be involved in any kinds of danger. But Matt didn't give up. Matt always believed in hope and prays to God that maybe someday he will be given America. So Matt and his new family decided to be independent. They studied how to learn Bahasa, how to speak Bahasa themselves. They tried to adapt with the environment, but they never changed who they really are. So Everyone in their neighborhood seemed to enjoy their appearance. It's because the family are so generous and so charismatic. One of Matt's best skills is his communication skills. So everywhere he goes, he always easily makes new friends and makes new communication with everyone else. But sometimes he do be a bit naughty sometimes. But he's actually the key of the family. Without him, the family wouldn't be there as how they are now. Now one day, there was a girl who joined martial arts team and saw Matt happen to train along. Well, Matt, as usual, approached the new girl and gave it a welcoming message. Say hello there. I'm Matt. Nice to meet you. Oh, well, hello there. I am Ella. Nice to meet you too. What brings you so happy? Well, I'm always happy. People said it's kind of my thing, I'm charming, I'm cool, and quite a dream boy, what they said. So, would you like to see around? And they walked around and see how the condition in the martial arts area goes. Then the girl asked, Hey Matt, why do you decide to join martial arts? Well, he was a bit embarrassed at first. Then he answered, Well, this may sound a bit embarrassing, but I would like to be a hero. Martial arts is not always about fighting. Sometimes it's also about defending, whether it's defending yourself or defending people or maybe defending your act. Oh, I see. How about you? Why do you decide to join? Girls don't usually join martial arts, do they? Well, honestly, I also don't really know why. I just don't have an exact reason yet to devote myself in something. Matt! In 3 minutes, come spare me! Oh no, there goes Matt. He's running there. Well, it was a lovely tour. But Ella seemed to notice something odd about him. She realized that he's a refugee. And she couldn't imagine how difficult it is for him and his family to live alone. Especially when she realized the way they talk. She thought that Matt was fluent in English, but it was not at all. The thing is that only him and his little sister and his family was only capable of talking Bahasa. Sometimes the happiest people may be the saddest people in the world. But eventually, these two gather along very well. And surprisingly, they also live together. They live close to each other. So Matt's mother often comes to their house and shares their specialty dish. When Ella tasted for the first time, the reaction was surprising. Oh my goodness, this tastes so delicious. Matt, tell your mom that she's an absolute cooker. I would love to eat this every day. When Matt heard the news, she was so happy. She was touched by her love first and can't wait to make more. Then in return, Ella offers Matt to learn some English together that maybe someday will be useful for him in the future. Then they realize how different they live with each other. They develop a lifestyle where they learn from each other. Ella watches and observes how Matt is so caring with his family. He watches how he always eats healthy dishes. She also watches how he greets people, always with a smile. And meanwhile, Matt watches how Ella studies, how she thinks about the outside world, how she respects and accepts people as who they are. Then, someday, Ella came up to him and offered, Hey Matt, I would like to give you something. It was a jacket. Oh, what is this for? You see, I happen to sell your jacket with holes on the window, and I really do not wish you to wear that. So, this is for you. With this jacket, you will always be safe and feel home everywhere. Matt has no words of gratitude. He smiled and was very thankful of the gift. And since then, he started taking care of the jacket forever. Then weeks pass by. Early in the morning, Ella wakes up and opens up the window. The sun hasn't risen up earlier, but the view was very beautiful. Ella! Ella! Down here! Huh? What was that? It was Matt. What is he doing this early? Ella ran down the stairs with her piano and her different colored socks. Oh my God, Matt! What are you doing? It's literally 5 a.m. Are you out of your mind? And then she noticed that there was a situation going on behind him. It was his family putting up luggage inside the car. And she saw that Matt was wearing the jacket that she gave him. Hey, Ella, you see, I won't be staying here for long. Huh? Her sleepy face turned into a shocked face. Wait, what? What do you mean? Where are you going? No. Why are you going, Matt? Yeah, you know the laws. The laws? But the law said there are human rights. You have the right to live. You have the right to, I don't know, you have human rights. You have the right to, Look, Ella, even if there are human rights, we as refugees must obey every following rules. So, yeah, whether like it or not, we must leave. Ella started to kind of teary bit. But there must be another way, isn't it? Do you have to leave? Aren't you tired of running? I mean, sometimes fighting is also an option, Matt. Shh. Ella, please come down. You know, being tired is not really in my dictionary. So, and running is also my thing, you know? So, no, so worry, Ella. It's okay. Can you believe it? He just acts as if everything is okay. He talks as if he could handle everything so easily. But, of course, Matt is also very good at lighting up the situation. But still, Ella feels very sad. Hey, we'll meet again someday. Thank you for being such a little friend, Ella. And I really appreciate everything that you did back then. Ella still couldn't believe the situation. You're such a tough guy. And I too thank you for making me realize that there is something I should be fought for, friend. We will miss you very much. And don't forget to be a hero, okay? And they handshake for goodbye and they went different paths. And there began his new journey. He went to New Zealand, where refugees are more accepted, to live, to be educated, and to be protected. But he wouldn't call this as leaving. He would call this more as finding a new home. That is what Ella would have told him. So home isn't just a place to stay. Home is a place where we feel comfortable with our family with no boundaries at all. We feel safe. We feel comfortable. Would this be the day that he'll be free? Who knows? And there his new life begins. Thank you.
Thank you, Oribel, for delivering such wonderful performance. Next, we have Clarissa Mutia from SMA Pradita Dirgantara. Clarissa, the time is yours.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. In 2017, there are more than 31,000 people who are living from North Korea. This condition is mainly because of the harsh law that is applied by the North Korean government. These refugees had faced a lot of traumatic events, such as sexual harassment, hunger, starvation, and many more. Yet, they never give up when it comes to seeking for their freedom. Hello, everyone. My name is Clarissa Rahmawati Mutia, and I'm a delegation from SMA Pradita Dirgantara. And today, I would like to tell you a story of a woman refugee from North Korea. This woman identity is anonymous, so let's just call her as Mrs. X. Mrs. X started her story by telling us the background of the living in North Korea. She says that North Korean people do not have any freedom, even freedom on how to sit down or how to do fashion. There are a lot of officers over the countries, only to making sure that everyone wears their attribute well. Most of her childhood was spent during the time that called as March of the Suffering or the Great Famine. Back then, some people cannot afford food. Many students cannot attend school, and a lot more even have to climb mountains, dig grasses, only to eat food. Luckily for Mrs. X, she did not have to felt any of that because her parents were wealthy. Her father was a businessman and her mother was an accountant. However, the happy years did not last long because her father's business was being confiscated after investigation from Pyongyang. There was a law that applied in North Korea, which states if an individual had exceeded the amount of wealth set by the government, then all of their wealth will be confiscated and they are going to be executed by the firing guards. Luckily for Mrs. X's father, he was able to survive because of the help of North Korean secret police officer. But her mother, she was ill from a heart disease due to the shockness of the incident. Her illness got worse and she finally dies when Mrs. X was only 18. After this incident, Mrs. X had no attachment to her country and won't waste her time in a country that has no freedom. She decided to leave North Korea. She left her hometown, said goodbye to her father and her brother, followed the broker paid by her father, runs towards the Tumen River to finally arrive at the Chinese soil when she met another broker with a car. During this journey, she had experienced a lot of uneasy events, starting from being kidnapped and wanted to be sold to a Chinese man. Luckily, she was able to survive and go to her father's friend's home safely. After that, she continued her journey to go to the South Korean base in Vietnam. In there, she met a young South Korean man who will help her a lot throughout her journey. When she arrived at the embassy, she knew that the embassy was surrounded by police officers, and she knew that she had to turn around and went straight forward to Laos. When she finally arrived at the Laos embassy, she was getting caught by the border guards. She was being investigated, and the guard decided to send her back to North Korea. She was crying. Please, officer, don't send me back. Please, I beg you, says Mrs. X, because she knew that the consequence is not going to be applied only to herself, but it's also going to be applied to her relatives in North Korea. Luckily, the South Korean man shouted out her name and helped her settling down the events. She can finally get out from the embassy safely. After going from China, Vietnam, and Laos, she can finally arrive at the Cambodian embassy safely. Under the guidance of Cambodian embassy, she can live in a house which managed by a pastor in South Korea. From her journey from North Korea to South Korea, it took her a year and a half. She had been through a lot of obstacles during this journey, but she never gave up. She also stated that many women refugees, including herself, are experiencing a lot of uneasy events during their journey only to get their freedom back. The moral of the story is, be grateful for whatever your condition is. Do not ever be ungrateful for what you have and what you do not have. Because remember, there are thousands, even millions of our people out there, the refugees, that are still fighting to get their freedom back. That is all from me. I'm sorry if there's any mistakes. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. That was such a splendid performance from Clarissa. Thank you, Clarissa. Once again, with all due respect, we highly recommend for the honorable judges and participants to turn on their camera. Next, we have Gea Putri Handriza from SMAN 2 Tangerang Selatan. Gea, the time is yours.
Oh, hi everyone. Sorry for tearing up. I haven't even started yet. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello there, judges and audience. My name is Gea Putri Handriza, and I'm from Second State South Tangerang Senior High School, or known as SMA 2 Kota Tangerang Selatan. How are you all doing? Mine's not too well. Yes, I did cry at the beginning. Well, that's because I just heard a story about a poor little girl. What happened to her, you wonder? What makes this story sad? I mean, who is this little girl anyway? So, buckle up, everyone. Sit down, relax, and get your tissues ready. Once upon a time. We use that sentence too much. A long, long time ago. Still feels basic. How about in a place far, far away? There was a peaceful and happy family that consists of a father, a mother, and one little girl. The little girl was just 10 years old. Her name is Carla. She has the most beautiful hazel eyes and long, silky black hair. And a brilliant future. Well, that's because she's always at the top of the class. What can I say? She's a smart kid. Besides that, Carla is a cheerful person, pretty outgoing. No doubt she has many friends. Her mom and dad loves her very much. But one day, the day that ruins everything. It's a war. Many people fell, screamed. The houses were burned to ash. Let me tell you, it's such chaos. Inside the house, Mom holds Carla's hand tightly and hugged her, refusing it to let go no matter what. Stay close, my little girl. It's going to be all right. Your dad is going to find a new shelter, okay? Carla just nods. She was so scared that she was about to cry, but she didn't. Her parents taught her to be strong in every situation. Suddenly, the door opens. Let's go. I heard that they're moving people to a safer place. It's not far, just across the bridge. They're running and running as fast as they could till they finally make it. Mom puts Carla in the car. Boom! Out of nowhere, there was a huge explosion. The car drove away at speed. Sadly, Mom and Dad couldn't make it. It broke Carla's heart, and that's when she cried hysterically. She refuses to cry anymore. Either way, she has to keep going. After days, they arrived at the new place. That's when people start to split up. And Carla is all alone, hungry, and shivers because of the cold. But she kept going, looking for a new home. Accidentally, she arrived at the luxurious-looking complex. Carla thinks that they're rich, they probably have more than enough food, and the houses were big. Maybe there's some spare room for her to stay. Carla asks a woman from the street. She was wearing a floral dress and a designer bag that looked super expensive. Excuse me, ma'am, I'm new here. My old house was destroyed because of a war and I don't have anywhere to live. Oh my God, you filthy creatures, stay away from me. There's no way I'm letting a dirty ghost stay in my house. Are you trying to steal from me? No, ma'am, you've got the wrong idea. At least some food. I haven't eaten for days. Get out of here now before I call the police. Carla storms off and kept going. Without realizing it, she arrives at the poor side of the neighborhood. Again, Carla thinks that they can survive if one of these small house. Maybe she can squeeze in. Carla goes into one of the houses and knocks. Shortly after comes a bearded guy. He's barefoot with a shabby clothes. Hi, sir. My house was... No, you can't stay here. There are a lot of people in my houses and there's no more room. You can go now. Carla gets cut off by the man and he slams the door shut. Carla is not going to give up. She knocks on every house there and still nothing. One of the citizens was kind enough to give her an old scarf. Carla was hoping it was food, but she's still grateful for what she had given. The day is getting dark, and now she's in a forest, lost and scared. There are way too many animal noises in the night. What if a wild animal just shows up and eats her alive? There must be a bear or a panther or a snake. But she tries to sleep on the grass with the scarf as her bed. It is so uncomfortable. Carla sees a light. It's a flashlight pointed at her, and she heard, "Hey, little girl, what are you doing here? It's dangerous. I thought I saw a ghost. Come here." Carla follows the man into a house in the hidden, thick, and dense trees. The man made hot tea and a sandwich for Carla. She ate super fast because, of course, she was hungry. The man sits across her and asks, "What happened to her?" Carla tells everything from the beginning. The man is speechless. After some time, he finally talks. "You know, I was like you back then, except I was 13. Carla's eyes go wide. "Really?" "Yes, but I'm with my grandpa. Sadly, he passed away 5 years ago. Oh, I missed him. Oh, and I didn't quite catch your name." "It's Carla. And you?" "Call me Dave." In the end, Carla and Dave stays together in this house. Dave actually works as a wood chopper for the people in the luxurious complex. Every day he brought home books that he borrowed from the library to Carla to read. And Carla learns how to cook and clean the house while Dave was gone. Both of them take care for each other. The end. Wait, hold on. Did you learn a lesson from the story? According to United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees, 82.4 million people worldwide are forced to leave their homes, among which are 26.4 million refugees. Fear of persecution in their home country causes them to be reluctant to return to their home country because of the tremendous trauma they experience. Refugees may face imprisonment, torture, loss of property, physical assault, hunger, overwhelming fear, rape, and loss of livelihood before being compelled to flee. The amount of stress also continues in the process after they had left their homes, where they were frequently separated from families, robbed, forced to hurt or kill others, witness torture or murder. That's why we need you to provide a home for them. In the name of humanity. That is it, everyone. Thank you and goodbye. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Gea. You were exceptional. Next, we have Alia Mubita Ardi. Alia Mubita Ardi from SMA N 2 Tangerang Selatan. The time is yours.
Hello, am I audible? Could you see me clear?
Yes, you are audible and you are really clear.
Okay. Heal the world, make the better place for you and for me and the entire human race. There are people dying, you care about for the living. Make a better place for you and for me. I'm Alia. Someone wants me to deliver the story to you, so peace can be created. The girl named Sunny, the chief of maid, who are working in a castle in the Nebulous Kingdom, was tidying the queen's bedroom, who had a lovely personality. Oh, she heard something fell. Turning her body around, she saw an unfamiliar small black envelope on top of the queen's table. Take it. She felt something weird. For as long as she could remember, every envelope that was sent to the queen had never been put in the queen's bedroom. Feeling anxious, she immediately told the queen. The queen's reaction was confusing. She was calm, smiling, said to her, "Oh, that was from my friend, the friend of mine, you know? No worries," said the queen. Sunny sensed something unusual from the queen's behavior, especially from her smile, but she nodded nonetheless. Everything changed. Sunny could see the queen's behavior was changing every single day. She got drunk a lot. She bought things she actually didn't need it in her castle. And she never attended the meetings she usually had with the citizens to talk about the kingdom's development. Oh my God. Not only that, her attitude towards the maids and Sunny also changed. She became more violent and sensitive. Every time her command was rejected, she would whip Sunny and the maids, calling them slaves, putting them in a room full of dirt as a punishment. Where was the lovely queen? That Monday, Sunny and the other maids prayed that day will turn out to be a better day for them because their life was getting worse every single day. Suddenly, the fire alarm was on. Wheel! Smoke was everywhere, covering their mouths and noses. They immediately opened the nearest windows. The entire kingdom was burned in the fire. Lots of shouting was heard. Looking to the west, Sunny could see a big army was attacking them. Her eyes widened. She immediately told the others maids to look out for the queen. Look out for the queen right now. Get out right now. The others, lead the citizens in the mindless hill right now. Shouted Sunny. They split into two groups. The first group will look out for the queen, while the others led the citizens to avoid the fire. Sunny and the others from the first group ran outside the palace, looking for the queen. She heard a helicopter sound from a massive field that thankfully hadn't caught any fire. They ran towards the sound, only to find the queen who was getting ready to board the helicopters. Your Highness, the kingdom was under attack. We need you. The citizen needs you. Help us! Shouted Sunny in panic. But the queen stayed silent. Suddenly, laughing. Now, why do I have to help you? I'm a queen. I'm rich. I have my money from my job being a queen. Lonely queen? There's no such a thing from the beginning, my dear. Game over. Sunny and the rest of maids truly felt disappointed, mad, and betrayed by Queen's behavior. Sunny ran and reached out her hands to hold back the Queen. But it was too late. The helicopter already took off, leaving Sunny and the rest of them alone with the fire. They cried, full of disappointment. Then Sunny wiped her tears harshly. Everyone, let's just focus on the future. Let's just lead the last citizens who are still alive to the Midas Hill right now. Let's just focus on what happened right now. Let's go! Commanded Sunny. They immediately ran back to the Midas Hill. When they arrived, there were only 100 citizens who survived with their emergency kits. For 30 minutes, silence surrounded them. Their condition wasn't good at all until Sunny spoke. Everyone, let's not hold any grudge on our fates right now. We couldn't predict our condition will turn out to be like this. Let's look for a better place, everyone. Let's look for a better life outside the kingdom. We can't give up. Don't give up, cheered Sunny. Her sudden determination inspired the survivors. They were determined to search for a better life for them. They began their journey to search for a safe haven. For days, and you could say for maybe weeks, getting rejected by other kingdoms already became their daily things to deal with. Not only that, they also had to deal with hungers, false treatment, traumas, and many other worse things you cannot ever imagine in your mind. Many of them thought that they wanted to end their life because they were in pain too much. Thankfully, with their last remaining hope in their 100th destination, the citizens and the village chief were willing to accept them. That was their new place, their new chapter of life began at that time. 3 years after the tragedy, Sunny was told by her friends that their ex-queen was caught by the International Investigation Corporation. It turns out that their ex-queen was the actual twin of their real queen who murdered by their ex-queen caused of jealousy and greediness. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Sunny will pray for everyone who are listening to her story through me, the storyteller, right now. To everyone, to all of you, do not be trapped by greediness and jealousy. They only lead you to the darkness. And be careful always, because karma is real. Thank you for listening to my story, and I hope you have a great day. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Alia. That was such a terrific performance. Next, we have Martiza Hanim Suraya from SMA Pradita Dirgantara. Martiza, the time is yours.
Thank you. Hi. My name is Martiza Hanimturaya from SMA Pradita Dirgantara. This is a story titled If Only. A story which tells you about a girl named Alima. Alima, a Muslim girl, is the sole child of her family which lives in Rakhine State, Myanmar. Since she was little, she had always wanted to become a teacher, so she taught the kids at the mosque to read Quran. She knows that her dream wouldn't be easy to come true since she came from the Muslim minority ethnic known as the Rohingya. But she won't give up. She wanted to show that the minority like her are entitled to a good education. Little did she know that her father experienced torture on his workplace. Her father never told Alima anything, but she noticed that her father's hand was full of bruises. So one day, she followed her father to his workplace and found that some of the Muslim workers there were being tortured by the Burmese armies. She went to find help, but she ended up running into her neighbor, which tells her that her mom was being raped by 4 Burmese soldiers in her own house. She dashed like the wind. She couldn't control herself. She was ruled by anger as she tried to fight the culprit. However, she getting caught instead. They interrogate her for a while. Knowing that she was teaching the kids the Quran at the mosque, they drag her there and burn the Quran right in front of her eyes. She tried to fight them, but she was slapped instead. The slap was very shocking for her, since no one had ever done that to her. She plucked up her courage and tried something to them. What's our fault? So you treat us like this? One of the men replied, "Oh, so you forget that you're a Muslim? You are clearly not a part of this land. Why don't you just go back to your own country?" I was born, lived, and grew up in the land named Myanmar, same as probably you are. This country doesn't have the right to dictate what religion I should follow. Why? Why must you Why must you hurt I like this? She was left again just before she could finish her sentence. Another man kicked her in the head, and she lost her consciousness since then. When she opened her eyes, she realized that the man has done something dirty to her. She couldn't keep her tears from welling up from her eyes. She cried out and begged God for help. Dear God, we are hurt and terrified. Please, please assist those of us who believe in you. She then walked desperately to her house, only to find that her parents were both gone forever. Hearing that, she feels like a knife stabbed her in the chest. She couldn't believe that her parents, who loved and raised her, are leaving her in this way. This is something that she would never able to forgive forever. The next morning, a lot of Rohingya people packed their belongings to leave Myanmar. Alima, who has no one left, was opted to leave her home, which she expected will be burned down soon. Most of the masses flew to Bangladesh, but Alima was joined with a group that will fly to Indonesia. Since they can flee by the standard route due to the expensive cost and some requirement documents like visa, which they didn't have, they have to pay the smugglers to get them out of Myanmar. Alima panicked since she didn't have anything to give on her hand. The smugglers then forcefully took off her veil and harshly take her golden earring. She ignored the bleeding in her ear and focused on finding a seat on the rubber boat that will carry them across the sea to Indonesia. She ignored the cold and wet journey with the hope that she will get her precious life back by living in Indonesia. Unfortunately, her expectations were dashed. The struggle to seek for asylum was another challenge they had to face. Every single day, they wait for their identities as asylum seeker to be shipped as a refugee who still didn't have a country, but had some rights. The day had come. Alima was finally get her asylum and were officially recognized as refugee. Living in a temporary camp with little food, water, and proper sanitation wasn't easy for her. But one thing that she noted was that she will never ever come back to her previous country. She's afraid that going back to that country will only open up the wound that haven't even fully healed yet. While waiting for the UNHCR's decision on whether integrate her to the host country or resettle her to another country, she tried her best to enjoy her life in the present. However, her journey is not without bumps. Most of the area near her temporary camp was filled with banner, which reads, "We are against refugees." She felt offended with the xenophobia that society had spread through social media or directly. She feels exhausted. She had endured all the violence and torture, and some of them still recognize her as a threat. If only you know what it's like to be beaten in your own house. If only you know what it's like to see your parents being tortured and dying right in front of your eyes. If only you know how it feels to be homeless and countryless. If only you know that we are all human, same as you do. That's all the story of Alima. Thank you for listening, and see you.
That made me shiver. Thank you, Martiza, for such a magnificent performance. Once more, with all due respect, we highly recommend for the honorable judges and participants to turn on their camera. Next, we have Rahadian Yoga Valendra from SMA Tunas Mekar, Indonesia. Rahadian, the time is yours.
Many powerful politicians and influential media might give the impression that rich countries are doing more than enough to help people fleeing from war and persecution. But in reality, the picture looks very different. The international community, and in particular wealthy nations, are failing to meaningfully share the responsibility for protecting people who have fled their homes in search of safety. In other words, they are failing to support a fair and predictable system for protecting people forcefully everything behind because of violence. and persecution. Well, in the topic of that, today I want to tell you just a meaningful story about the terror and trauma that Kennedy faced as a refugee. Once upon a time, there was a boy named Baja. He was a 10-year-old boy who lived with his parents in the country of Pakistan. Bajar's parents took care of Bajar as best as they could so that Bajar could be a successful and wise person in the future. Bajar's family didn't come from much. Therefore, after going home from school, Bajar usually helped his parents to earn money by selling beverages in the streets. Watermelon juice, orange juice, lemonade, only for 50 rupees. Buy it now. Ooh, Rita, I want the orange juice, please. All right, coming right up, sir. Here you go. After selling all of his beverage, Bajar went home. Assalamualaikum, Ami. Waalaikumsalam. How's good, beta? Today is really exciting, Ami. In science class, I got to learn about the planets in our solar system, and it's really fun. It sounds really interesting, beta. Yes, Ami. Oh, I almost forgot, Ami. This is for today. Oh my God, Pash, beta. This is what Ami and I was supposed to do. You only have to focus on your study, beta. Ami, don't worry, I'm still studying. And after going home from school, I have a lot of free time. Therefore, the best way to fill in those free time is to have Ami and Ami. Oh, beta. After hours and hours have passed, it's already nighttime, as Bajar already falling asleep. But suddenly, boom, boom. That sound immediately woke up Bajar from his sleep. His mother and Bajar went out of the house immediately to find a safe place. While running, Bajar and his mother saw something that traumatized them for the rest of their life, which is the bodies of people all across the world and road dead because of the bombing. Not to mention the house that Bajar and his parents lived in got totally destroyed. While running that feels like ages, they finally find a safe place where there's packed with a lot of people. Once they arrive there, Bajar's mother get a call immediately by her husband. Oh my God, Amina, Bajar, are you okay? We're okay, Ali. Oh my God, Alhamdulillah. Abu, come here, please. Oh my God, Bajar. Yes, Abu is on the way, Bajar. Abu is on the way. Okay, Ali, make sure to be here fast, okay? Yes, Amina, yes. After weeks and weeks have passed, Bajar and his parents decided to went out of the country to move to another country because of the conflict that's still happening on the area that Bajar lived in. Bajar and his parents decided to go to the country of Italy. The travel from Pakistan to Italy took over 2 weeks by land and have to cross the sea twice by a small boat. But when crossing the sea at the second time, something happened. A sound of gunshots firing from a boat afar that makes all the passengers panic, including Bajar and his parents. Oh my God, Amina, Bajar, Dad, I'm so scared. Don't worry, Bajar, Amina. We are fine. We're fine. Dad, the water starts to leak into the boat, Dad. Don't worry, Bajar. We have a life jacket. We will be safe. We will be safe. Oh. After minutes have passed, that feels like an hour. The attackers of the boat finally left. The problem is now that the water started to leak into the boat. Suddenly, a big wave came that rocked the boat from side to side until it turns upside down. All of the refugees on the boat fell into the water. While waiting for forever, suddenly a medium-sized boat came to help all of the refugees. Once all of the refugees arrived in Italy, they all stayed in the refugee camp in there. Bashar's parents started to look for a job so that they can get out of the refugee camp and started to live a normal life. But suddenly, there is a stranger who took Bashar's video and uploaded it to social media, and it went viral. All of the citizens of Italy feels bad about Bashar's condition and decided to make a fundraiser for the refugees in Italy. The fundraiser really helped all of the refugees to provide so many useful things, from hiring a psychiatrist to relieve all the traumas that is faced by the refugees, and also a huge sum of money for all of the refugees to buy their own basic needs. One night, when Bashar and his parents were having a dinner, Abu, Ami, I would like to say so that I'm really thankful because you protected me during this hard time. Oh, Beta, this is Abi and Abu's responsibility to protect you at all times. Yes, Beta, this is our responsibility, and also to raise you to become a wise and successful person in the future. And now, we must thank to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that we can still breathe this fresh air and enjoy this delicious dinner. So guys, that is all for the story. Hopefully, this story teaches you about compassion, generosity, and above all, perseverance. A refugee's story is an exemplification of courage and grit that a lot of people across the world are struggling to obtain. That's all from me. My name is Rahadian Juga Valendra. Thank you very much for your kind attention.
Thank you, Rahadian. That was an exciting performance. And last but not least, we have Titian Arifana from SMAN 1 Geger. Titian, the time is yours.
Hello everyone, I'm Titian Arifana from Geger Senior High School. Today, I want to tell you about my story. This is a precious story. Are you curious? Well, the title of my story is The War and the Sadness. Happy listening and let's get started. 10 years ago, there was a war in an area, but behind the war, there's a heartbreaking story. Mom! A little girl named Uni ran into her mother. Then her mother took Uni's small hand. The two laughed together and laughed and they funny book. After they spent their time in a park, Uni and her mother arrived at home. Oh my gosh, Mom, today is my wonderful day. I'm so happy, said Uni with a happy face. You look exhausted, dear. Let's leave. And then Uni went into her mother's arms, making her mother's arms as a pillow, enveloping the two of them and hugging each other. You might think that this family feels lonely because she's a friend, she's mother and a doctor, right? But the two of them are complete each other. Suddenly, there was a very loud gunshot. Uni and her mother woke up and they checked out of the house. They very shocked what was happening. Many people died and screamed for help. Help me! Help me! What happened here? Asked Uni's mother to Moji, her neighbors who looked like she was about to leave her house. Something dangerous will happen. I just want to bring your daughter in a safe place, said Moji in a hurry. Then Uni and her mother ran to leave her house and then into the truck. Uni was confused with anything she saw around her. And suddenly, while running, a ball shot in the chest of Uni's mother. I can go. Please bring my daughter with you, Moji. Please keep her alive, said Uni's mother with a pain. Wow! Uni cried to her mother in a pain. Then Mochi carried Uni into the truck, ignoring Uni who was crying. After that incident, Uni and Mochi lived in another island. Today, she turned out 17 years old. Oh, well, it's been a long time since it happened, right? But she still can remember the incident clearly in her memory. Hi, Uni. Happy birthday. Let's breakfast together. Muji offers. "Uh, thanks. Oh, by the way, can I go to the island? What? Island? Are you sure? I thought accompanying you. No, I can go there alone. Okay. The next day, Uni went to the island where she used to live. Still, and they still remember exactly where she used to live. Uni stood in front of her house and knocking the door. Knock, knock! Mom! I'm Uni! I'm here! Suddenly, the door opened. A woman she really missed appeared behind the door. Uni! Mom! Uni and her mother hugged tightly each other, and they asked about us, about how they are, and talked about how was the things they really miss. Now, unknowingly, night has come. Uni, do you miss this moment? We always slept together, dear. Uni's mom hugged Uni's body, letting the little girl on her arms, and Uni seeking the warmth from her lovely mother. Mom, it's cold. Mom. She felt that there is no one beside her, cold and empty. Uni lowered her head when she realized that there's no one and she just been looking for her mother. The confusion changed into a pain. Okay, everyone, that's all about my story. I know this story is sad ending, but we can learn from this story that we have to avoid war because war can leave a sadness and a trauma for those people who experience it. Okay, I'm Ditya Rifana. Thank you and good night.
Thank you, Titian, for your great performance. How is it? That was pretty fun, right? We believe that all the participants have prepared their best for today. So we would generously thank you all for your active participation. Along with the performance of the last participant, this marks the end of the final round for Senior High School of Storytelling Competition of the 26th ALSA National English Competition. I would like to thank all the judges and participants for your preparation and participation throughout this event. We hope you can learn a lot from it as well. On behalf of the entire organizing committee, we would like to apologize if there were any mistakes by action or any unpleasant words in organizing this event. Once again, we would like to thank our sponsors and partners, Toko Vendor, Royal English, Info Event, Info Lomba, Event Center ID, Online Lomba, Poin Kampus, Event Kampus, Jagat Lomba Indonesia, Media Lomba Plus, Info Lomba IST, Info Lomba SCH for helping us in conducting this event. To all participants, don't forget to attend the closing ceremony on Tuesday, August 3rd, 2022. Since there will be a winner's announcement and you need to be present at the closing ceremony in order to get your e-certificate. We wish you all the best of luck. I, Runi, as the Master of Ceremony, would like to end today's event. Hopefully, we can meet again in the other upcoming opportunities. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Shalom, Om Shanti 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 Om, Namo Buddhaya. The 26th ALSA National English Competitions enforce perseverance, seek for brilliance. ALSA, always be one.